A Seventh-day Adventist by faith, Mugweli had studied theology and was preaching in the areas of Jinja. On a fateful night, about 7 p.m., Mugweli was involved in a car crash.
Many things that happened on that day, most of them I just glorify God over it because it was God's mercy to be alive till now.
He was hit by a sino truck on Njeru Road on Jinja Highway. It is said the truck entered the road without stopping and in full beam that blinded Reagan to see well. Before long, he was crushed. In his narrative, Reagan says the driver reversed to finish him off since he was still conscious. There was no help at the crash scene.
It was something terrible in just a minute, in just a second. I just see had passed. I'd already struck the sino truck. When I struck it, I didn't immediately know whether I had got an accident or I had broken. I knew that I had got, but my brain was still in that dilemma of not understanding anything. What then happened by that time, I forced myself to stand up, to see whether I can move, to go and pick the motorcycle, so that I can see how to move, go home or go to the nearest hospital to see how I can deal with it.
Reagan was thereafter picked up by a friend who was about 300 meters away. Reagan was rushed to St. James Hospital for treatment, and by the time he arrived at the hospital, he was unconscious. With blood group O, his operation delayed due to lack of blood for transfusion, and in the operation, he lost his lower limb.
On the way, I felt 5 blackouts to Jinja, where to St. James, where the hospital was. Reaching the hospital, it was something not thing. The doctor had just went out of the hospital. Then they called him, he came.
Reagan had planned a wedding with his fiancée in 5 months, but couldn't go on with the plans. The hospital bills were too much for him, and the commuting to Kosu, where the operation had been done, was another hassle. After the amputation, the healing process took about 3 months. When Reagan visited Kosu again in Chisubi for rehabilitative services, he was identified as a needy patient for rehabilitative support.
We work with hospitals and civil society organizations to identify road traffic crash victims that need support. So we put in a request in several hospitals in Kampala, and one of them went to Kosu Hospital. And we requested that because they do rehabilitative services, we requested that if they can identify an individual who needs help, then they should alert us.
Being a pastor under the SDA church, Reagan had been supported by the church members. He currently resides in Nyenda SDA Church. Reagan acquired a sweater sewing machine, and in his free time, he tries to make a few sweaters for his survival. Fortunately, Reagan can walk again, thanks to the prosthetic limb acquired by Nile Breweries through Africa Consults Usarama, an agency that works on safety.
And this time around, we have a 26-year-old young man who stays in Njeru, who we have supported with assistive devices. His story is very interesting. We were looking at where the incident happened. It should be one of the highways that has high fatalities. And he did qualify because Jinja Highway, Kampala Jinja Highway also has high fatalities. So he was fitting. We're also looking at breadwinners. For example, he's a male, could be having some responsibilities.
As the world marks the World Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims, Reagan is lucky to survive. In the new road safety campaign, Ondaba, Nile Breweries has injected 150 million Uganda shillings to this cause.
And what our call for action here is, we want to appeal to every road user. Can you be aware of each and everyone else who is using the road? For example, motorcyclists, be aware of the drivers, be aware of the pedestrians who are vulnerable on the road. So this is our campaign this year, and we are focusing on increasing awareness. We are focusing on preventing accidents on the road. And this stems from our global ambition to reduce to contribute to the UN Road Safety Decade for Action. Where
This campaign will focus on sensitizing road users and equipping them with safety items. At Impigi Health Center, Nile Breweries has also refurbished the emergency ward as well as equipping the facilities to accommodate more accident victims. Statistics indicate higher road carnage during the festive season. That's why police, Ministry of Works and the private sector like Nile Breweries are working hand in hand to save lives.